am Lolita Hayes, the Vintage Starlet, and I am starting out the new year with stuff from last year. I thought it would be fun to share with you all the antique and vintage and thrifting stuff I purchased in the last couple months of the year of 2019. I originally planned on doing monthly hauls, but some months I didn't purchase anything. Some months I did purchase, but it was only a little bit, so not really worth a video. So then I thought, well, maybe I'll do it every 2 months. So I would gather up all the things that I wanted for the past 2 months and just do a haul bi-monthly, which is how I accumulated these few items that I have for you today. These are all my purchases from November and December, which somehow is related to vintage, antique, you know, the sorts. And while I do like the idea of doing like every 2 months, that may be a little hectic for my schedule. So now I'm thinking do it quarterly. So this will be my first haul of the year. Unfortunately, this will only include my purchases from November and December of last year because I didn't record everything I got for the 2 months prior to that. And then the next haul video you should expect in January, February, March, April. Early May. It'll include all my purchases from those 4 months, but we're not there yet, so let's go ahead and do a quick dive into what I got in November and December. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell, and if you like this, please make sure you give it a thumbs up so I know this is something you enjoy. All right, let's get started right away. I'm just gonna dive into the vintage thrifting that's not quite vintage. I'm actually going to show you first these couple of items that I thrifted that aren't quite vintage, but I included them anyway because I really like them. If you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you know I've been really getting into roller skating lately. So a couple of these things are more for roller skating and not quite for like the vintage aesthetic. For example, at Buffalo Exchange, I did pick up, and this is not vintage, but it does have a vintage inspired look, is this Barbie pink Corvette tank. As I said, I got this at Buffalo Exchange and I paid $9 for it. When I'm not fully in love with the 40s, I am 100% devoted to the 80s. And this tank top has a very 80s, early 90s, but late 80s, early 90s motif to its Barbie design. I thought this was a fun tank top that I'm sure to wear as I am roller skating about town, though my bright red skates probably won't match this very well. Perhaps I should buy another pair of roller skates? Yellow, blue, pink, something to match this tank. Next on the list of Buffalo Exchange purchases, I got this super cool netted jumper, not jumpsuit, but jumper, play suit. This is actually to wear over a swimsuit. I mean, it would make sense. It is fishnet. It's fully see-through, as you can see, so all your lady bits will show, which in my case, I really don't mind. Buffalo Exchange, $13. Once again, not vintage, but still goes with the roller skating motif. One last item in the not quite vintage, but I thrifted it, so I love it anyway, column is this fishnet. I told you I love fishnet. This fishnet hoodie, and I just thought it'd be a nice little thing to wear while I'm roller skating, and it's cool. I like it. The hoodie, Buffalo Exchange, $10. Now I do have a couple of actual vintage items in the clothing section. As I had mentioned but a moment ago, I do love the 80s. I love stripes, I love red, I love black. So when I saw this little number, I knew I had to have it. So hopefully this will make its way into a photo shoot. What is it, do you ask? It is this fantastic swimsuit. Come on. It's got the high cut, but not the 90s super high cut. It's got the high cut leg line, crotch line, so things are gonna get a little sexy up in there. So look forward to that if I end up doing it. I might chicken out I hope not, because, I mean, so super awesome. I picked this swimsuit up at Retro Vegas in Las Vegas here on Main Street. I really hope it's Retro Vegas and not Vintage Vegas. It's either Vintage Vegas or Retro Vegas. I'm so bad. While I was at Retro Vegas, I also picked up this skirt from the 80s or 90s, maybe 70s. I'm not quite sure. It's just your average pleated skirt. What I liked about this is that it fit. I've put on so much weight lately that just finding something that fit was a blessing. This is a box pleated skirt. The color scheme is like a pink, peach, blue, white, olive green. It does have a metal zipper, but no label inside, so I can't accurately date it, but I would say it is from the 70s or 80s. Hell, it may even be modern, but it gives it that vintage look. There is a vendor inside a Retro Vegas named the Red Cat LV. So this I got specifically from that vendor. I can't remember, but I believe I paid only $24 for the skirt. I also picked up this leather tooled belt. I don't often think about getting belts until I actually need one. And while I don't need a tooled belt specifically, I do know that there's going to be a chance where I can wear it to add to the look. So I thought, why not? Let's grab this. It's in my size. It is affordable. I paid $14 for this. Now, I don't remember if this was specifically from the Red Cat inside Vintage Vegas or if this was another vendor. I don't remember. Over Christmas, I went to Sarasota, Florida to spend some time with my ex. While there, we found a vintage store, really cute vintage store called The Canned Ham. Now, they're actually going to be moving, and I think she said that their new, not launch date, their new grand opening date is going to be January 6th, 7th, 8th, or 9th, somewhere around there. I can't remember. I was kind of just like listening while looking through vintage hats and everything. So if you are in the Sarasota, Florida area, look up Canned Ham Vintage. They are incredible. They have so much stuff, so many eras. But I did pick up, I guess you could say, a couple things, although it's really just one thing. Vintage seamed stockings. First thing I always look for with vintage stockings, are they seamed? If they're seamed, the next thing I look for are they my size? I am a vintage seam stocking 10.5, but these are only 10. So I'm hoping I can fib a little bit with that ½ inch there. I couldn't resist. 2 pairs for $15. You can't even get new ones for $15 a pair. Now there are 2 pairs here in slightly different colors, and I do believe they're 2 different brands. They just both happen to be in this box. So they are fully fashioned stockings. They do, let's see, are they the Havana or are they the Cuban? I'm gonna say that these are Cuban. They're not quite as blocky as the Cubans, if I'm recalling, and I'm not mixing up Cuban and Havana, but so they're a little more stumpy in the blocking here, which makes me think of Cuban. If it was like a little bit longer, I would have gone with Havana. So I'm gonna just go ahead and say that these ones right here are Cuban. The brand is Canon, 100% nylon, 51 gauge, 30 denier. I think that's how you pronounce it. Full fashioned 10 in long. I have no doubt that these ones are gonna fit me. These ones are longer, and since my legs have been getting a little chunky, plus I have long legs because, you know, I'm like so super tall, those ones I'm not afraid about. The second pair, however, I am a little bit nervous about. The foot does look really small to me, so my guess is that these ones are actually a 9. Don't know if I'm going to be able to fit in these, which saddens me a lot. Now these ones have a little bit more of a taupe look to them. They too are fully fashioned, seamed, and they once again have that Cuban block. I'm assuming Cuban block. I should be really more educated while I'm trying to talk to you about these. This is by the brand Tweed DuPont. You can't quite see it on this, but there is a little bit of a leftover ballerina imprint on it. A cute little dancing ballerina. These are nylons. They are 15 denier and 60 gauge. I don't know enough about stockings to know what any of that means. I'm just gonna put them on one day and try to make them look good and show off the fact that they are 15 denier and 60 gauge. That is, if these ones fit. While staying in Florida, in Bradenton, there was an antique store actually right across the street from where I was staying called the Carriage House Antiques. The people working there were quite lovely. They were really helpful, and I really enjoyed shopping there. It's a little old house that converted into different antique vendors and whatnot. I picked up a couple things from them. They, I thought, were really well priced. I don't know much about Bakelite, so I don't know if this is an average price, a high price, a low price, but it was a good price for me, I can tell you that. I was able to pick up these Bakelite earrings. They are clip-on. They are in an octagon shape. These do pass the Bakelite smell test, the one test I do know. I picked these up. I got these for $15, $14.95 actually, and I thought that was a really good price for some vintage clip-on earrings. The last thing I have in the accessories department, we're going to go right back to Retro Vegas in Las Vegas for. I just picked up this purple floral scarf. I was able to snatch this one up for $4 at Retro Vegas. Once again, I don't know if it is part of the Red Cat vendor inside there. Good story, bro. Moving on to everything else. There's an antique mall on Main Street in Las Vegas here. I can't remember the name of it. It's just like the Antique Mall or something like that. I picked up these candle holders. They are Avon. I'm guessing they're from the 70s, maybe 60s. They do have that Depression era glassware look to them. And funny enough, they match this red plate that I got. And I didn't know that one was Avon at the time. They match this plate wonderfully, or perfectly. They must have been part of the set that I had gotten at a thrift store, I think Savers or something, last year sometime, I can't remember where. So I had to have these. I love this shade of red, and though it's not authentic deco and it's not authentic 40s or whatever, I really like this red shade of glassware. As you can see, I have already burned candles inside of them, and the wax is all over the place. I should have washed these before, but I was in a little bit of a rush to go ahead and film this. But this way you at least know that my thrifting, antiquing, whatever, I do use what I have. These were originally $5 for the pair, but the gentleman running the booth was running a 20%. Was running a 20% off everything in his booth, so I got the two for $4. I was happy to pay for $5, glad to save the extra $1. While there, I also picked up a McCall's magazine. This is from March of 1941. Now, I wasn't sure if I had this one or not because I have a whole bunch of vintage early 40s McCall magazines. It's like, hell, even if I already have it for that price, I am picking it up. As many people who buy vintage magazines know that it's no surprise to see a magazine like this priced at $15, $20, $25. I've seen some places price them at like $80, which is just because it's old does not mean it's worth a lot. Just remember that. So for $5, couldn't pass it up, and I went ahead and flipped through it. Nothing looked familiar, so I think this is a good one because I don't think I have this date. Let's travel all the way back to Florida. We are back in Carriage House Antiques. I picked this book up. It is by Edgar Wallace. It is called The Crimson Circle. That antique store, their booths were priced really, really well. This book was a little expensive. Had I done a little research prior to buying this, I don't think I would have bought this for the price point. It was originally marked at $28, and he called the guy working the store called up the vendor, and she brought it down to 23, and I was like, okay, well, that was, it was nice. She put in, a 20% discount, so I'll go ahead and buy it from her. This book is from 29. Oh, it does say first edition. Interesting. Okay, so it is a first edition. It did not come with the dust jacket. $23, I found out, was quite expensive. I looked on eBay afterwards, and there are a ton of these books from the 20s with dust jackets listed at like $15 or something. So I've even seen variations of this book for like $5. So this is a popular book that there are many copies out there running around. So yeah, had I done a little bit of research, I would not have purchased this. I did go ahead and give it a read. I had a really long day on my flight back to Las Vegas, and I was able to basically read the whole book. I only had a couple chapters left when I got home, which I finished. It's an interesting book. It's your standard 1920s, 30s crime drama. It's not quite juvenile enough to be a dime novel or a pulp, or even like a teen thriller. I know they have a bunch of those, like the Bobbsey twins, the Curly Tops, and Nancy Drew, those kind of things. So this is definitely for adults, but it's a simple enough read. It's not War and Peace. It's just your typical crime drama of the time and the era. It was a fun book. The ending there was a surprise ending for me. I'm not in love with this book, the story, but it is a good read just to pass time if you like crime dramas. So yeah, not a 100% regret, not a 100% wonderful purchase, but I always love reading these older books, so that was way longer of a spiel than it needed to be. While we're still at the Carriage House Inn, I did pick up a few more items from different vendors. This is a little flyer. It does say copyright 1916, but this just may be a reprint. I don't know. They had a bunch of these there. These were $3.50 each. So I don't know if somebody had like so many of them from 1916, like they just grabbed flyers and kept them all these years, or if this was just put together as a fun little souvenir thing years later. I don't know, but it's still neat to look. So it is Carmi and His Mysteries of India. Woo. So it's obviously a vaudevillian traveling show type flyer here, the sensation of the century, presenting weird demonstrations of occult power, marvelous feats of the Orient, and startling wonders of the spirit world. I mean, come on, it has everything I love. Inside, it does showcase some of the marvels and feats. Carmi swallowed a loaded gun barrel. Carmi breaks the cracker with a single bullet. All mysticism. It's fun. Like, I got it for $3.50. I'm not saying no. If anything, even if it is a reprint, it still shows what kind of graphics or sensationalism or, just of the time period. And live performance, as you know, has my heart. So especially when it's like traveling show, sideshow, vaudeville, burlesque, all that stuff, just circus even. Carriage House, I picked up some vintage photos of some military men, Navy boys. I love my Navy boys. I paid $3 each for each of these photographs, so $12 for 4. That's a little bit more than I wanted to pay. They were $1 each. I would have gotten more because they had more of these sailors all together, and I did not want to break up the set. I really didn't. I would have gotten the whole collection if I could have afforded it, but for $3 each, I just couldn't. So I just grabbed a couple fun ones from the set. Only one of the pictures has the gentleman's names on it, so these guys are just obscure, but they're my family now. I am fully in love with vintage postcards right now, and I picked up a few. What am I going to do with them? I don't know. They're already written on, so it's not like I guess I can reuse them or resend them, but I think I'm going to use them more for graphic inspiration and just collectible paper items. I can't think of that word right now. Ephemeria. Those that know what I'm trying to say, know what I'm trying to say. I picked these all up for $1 each. I mean, come on, these are amazing. And they had so many more. I was a little overwhelmed flipping through them, so I just grabbed the ones that grabbed my eye. This was the first one that I saw, and I knew I had to have it. It's got this golden embossing on it, and I just thought she was beautiful. She does have a little owie on her. She does have a little owie here, but for $1, I mean, come on. It didn't ruin the actual image, and she's just beautiful. It's a remember me, it says. It's just a beautiful, lovely lady in front of a painter's palette. Then I got a couple Valentine's Day ones. This one is also embossed and gilded, and it's just a pretty lady in a rose-shaped heart. God, these are so beautiful. Think of me, sweet Valentine, to my Valentine. I like this one because you can see her beau's photo in the on her vanity there. To my Valentine, you are so modest, coy, and sublime. Pray, will you be my Valentine? Oh, I know a gent that I'd like to say that to, unfortunately. He has no interest in me, so I shall move on. I also picked up 3 from Christmas. I've never seen postcards like this before. These are all Victorian, turn of the century postcards. So these are a little bit outside of my knowledge. So having never seen these ones before, I was just like, oh, these are so beautiful. They're so pretty. And you'll see why. Once again, I got these for $1 each. I mean, look at this. Merry Christmas. Now, I don't know if you can tell in the video, but these are 3D embossed. The main rose is flecked with like this velveteen, flocked with velveteen. It's so gorgeous. And they had a bunch in this flocked, embossed 3D style. The rose, I think, is one of the prettiest. Then they had one here with a flower of sorts. I'm not a horticulturist, so I don't know exactly what kind of flower this is, but it has the same flocked pedaling and so soft and so beautiful. Merry Christmas. I mean, if I got this as a Christmas present, I'd rather have this over an iPhone 11. That's not true. Feel free to get me an iPhone 11. But if you can't afford an iPhone 11, a postcard like this, oh, so beautiful. And the last in the 3D embossed flocked series is this Christmas greetings one. I got this because of the cute bird on it. The little flowers down here, they are flocked. The bird is not. He is just 3D embossed. So pretty. I did do a little bit of online shopping. Unfortunately, I can't remember if I got these from Etsy, eBay, or Facebook sewing groups, so I do apologize about that. And I can't remember the sellers I got them from, so I'll try to keep better track of that come the next round of the haul. Just in time to make for summer, I got this Simplicity 1022 pattern. This is just the envelope, but I do have the pattern for it. I could not remember if I had this one or not, or if I've just seen it online so much. You know, sometimes you mix up what you have and what you just seen. But I actually think I have a pattern, a different pattern, but with the same artwork, the same model, the same pose. So that might be what I'm mixing up. It is a bathing suit and dress, so what is fun is that these do have this little skirtlet thing, has trunks underneath it. So I paid a little bit more for this one. I think I paid $18 plus $2 shipping, so $20 total, which makes me believe that I got it from a Facebook group. And the last thing I have to share with you in this haul is one more sewing pattern in time for me to make something for summer. It is another swimwear play suit. What is the official title of this? Bathing suit. undersuit attached. Yeah, this is a Vogue pattern 9375. Now the best part about this is I snatched this up for only $9, and I think that included the shipping. I lucked out there, which makes me think it was an eBay purchase. I hope to have my summer body so that I can have my summer sewing done for it as well. This is a size 16, which is what I used to be. Can't say I'm that anymore, but I wouldn't mind getting back to my natural size 16, if not 14, 12. So thank you for letting me share with you everything I got in November and December. I hope that you enjoyed this enough that you want to see my next haul video, which should be in the springtime, coming in April. But thanks again, and I will see you in the next video I do. Have a happy new year, everyone, and we'll see you soon. Bye.